Today's episode of Other Record Labels is sponsored by Lander, the official digital distributor of Other Record Labels. You can learn more about them and get 20% off your subscription for digital distribution and so much more by going to otherrecordlabels.com/Lander or clicking the link in the description of this episode. More on them in just a little bit. Hello and welcome to a new episode of Other Record Labels. I'm your host, Scott Orr, where we talk about the art and culture of running an independent record label. Today's episode is a little indie artist focused. So if you work with indie artists, of course you do record labels, or maybe you're an indie artist yourself, like me, I do both. I'm an independent artist and I currently am only self-releasing. The only music I'm releasing on my label is my own music. This is a really fun episode because today's topic is actually happening in real time. So the advice and insights I want to share with you is something I'm experiencing as I record this. And I thought it would be fun to bring you along for this process, whether you're a label prepping a new release or one on the horizon, or you're an indie artist self-releasing something. Today, we're talking about how to prepare a release, and I have a 10-step process for you, a 10-step process. I've actually made a little bit of a checklist, and so I'll put a link down below for that. If you get our weekly newsletter, then it's already in your inbox for free as a PDF, and it's the notes basically from today, but it's done in a checklist form because these are 10 steps and you got to do each one first. So here's the story. Last week, I wrote a song. Maybe not a big deal to you, but it's something to me because I just released a full-length record last year, about 6 months ago. So I'm not really in the writing season for me. I still should be promoting that record and working on ways to sell through those units. But I was just chilling in the studio and I had this synth patch going and it was like a drone and I wrote a cool song on top of it and I got really excited by it. You know how it is. So I finished it pretty quickly and it has a new sound for me and something I'm keen to release relatively quickly as a single because it feels kind of standalone. In that regard. I've been in the studio for the past week working on it every day, and I'm a few weeks away from finishing it and mixing it and sending it off to mastering. So why does this matter to you? I want to give you a peek into my brain and what I'm planning for with this single and with this release. And let's work through this process together. The key thing that's important in all this is I'm talking to you about this release a week after the song was written and a week into the tracking and mixing, meaning it's super early in the process. That's a little hint. But as an indie artist and also a label owner who is going to release this track, here's what I'm thinking and what I think will make this a successful release. So I want to share with you my 10-step release plan. This was starting to just brew in the back of my mind as I'm recording a drum track for this song. It's 5 minutes long and I'm just playing along in the back of my mind thinking, this is a fun tune. I should release this. I should do this. I wonder if I should do 7-inch vinyl for this. And so I started to build this 10-step release plan. Chew it's in your mouth first, step by step. So let's go through this process together to figure out what I need to do vis-a-vis what you need to do. Number one, define what the release is. Firstly, I needed to discover what this release was going to be. Would this be just a song that I'll file away for my next record? Is it catchy and standalone worthy to be a one-off single or to be a single on the future record? Can I fit a single into my year's plan? Does that make sense? For me, this was perfect. Even though I'm still technically within 1 year release of my latest record, maybe not a great idea to deviate sound and to drop a new single and new artwork and abandon that album's release cycle. I'm going to do it. Maybe not a great idea. I'm going to be pushing it off further from today's date. So it will, by the time it comes out, it'll be closer to 10 or 11 months from my last record. So not a big deal, but I feel confident that it might be okay. And so as we talk about in a future record label interview that you're going to hear in a couple weeks, it can be surprising how a new release can help sell or promote your previous releases. So looking at what this release is, I feel good about doing this as a standalone single. So that's what number one is. I'm just defining what this release is going to be. Number two is determine its potential. Is it good? I mean, honestly, the biggest thing that got this ball rolling was the fact that I think it's a good track, and it's a track that can live on its own. I think it has a terrific playlist potential or sync potential or both. I think it's a nice tune for any time of year. It's just a sturdy track. I have confidence in giving it its own day in the sun. I have confidence to invest cash into a Facebook campaign or a Groover campaign to reach out to one of my contacts and hopefully get some consideration. I think it's that good. So I would do that. If this were just a very evident B-side, like a track left over from my last record, I wouldn't reach out to all my contacts to promote it or spend too much money on it if it didn't make the cut of my last record. But this is a new thing. It's a standalone thing. I think it's really strong. And I think it could do all those things. And so the second step is determining its potential so we know what kind of release this is going to be and what kind of campaign it deserves, or if it deserves one at all. Step 3 is pick a release date. Okay. Those two main questions are answered. What the release is going to be, a standalone single, and does it have potential? Is it worthy to be released? Yes. She said yes. Now we start planning the process of the wedding. We need a release date. Here's what I have to consider. I need to make sure the song is done, mixed and mastered. I still have to do guitars and vocals and then mix and then master. I don't know when that will be. It's taking shape very fast. Gun to my head. I think I could finish mixing in about 2 weeks. Tracking and maybe mixing in about 2.5 weeks, but I don't want to rush it and something could go wrong. I could tweak the lyrics. So I'm thinking about picking a release date pretty far away, even though, and this is something you'll run into issues when it comes to your artist, but this was a fast song written and recorded in a few weeks, but I may delay the release by 5 or 6 months. That's crazy, but let me explain. I'm recording this episode right now to you in April, which means I wrote the song in April. I think I'll be done the song mid-May. Now, if you're listening to this in the future, just replace these months with whatever month you're in. But I think I'll be done the song mid-May. I have a promotional plan for the mastering to tie in with an episode for this channel, so I'm not sure how long the mastering will take. So I think it's safe to say, safe to assume I'll have the final WAV file and artwork by the end of May at the latest. Okay. So the end of May, I wrote it second week of April and it's kind of going really fast. So I think writing, recording, mixing, mastering, 6 weeks. It'll take up from the middle of April all the way to the end of May. That's pretty safe. I can do that. Probably more likely uploaded to the distributor and everything by end of May as well. I'll be using Lander. Shout out to Lander, by the way. They reached out to us last year and we started chatting with them. They're a preferred distributor, digital distributor with Spotify. They are reputable. And I don't like to talk about distributors unless we know for sure that they are super, super reputable. Lander has been around for a very long time, a beautiful Canadian company. And, they got known for their online mastering stuff, which they still do, and they do really well. And, if you're doing B-sides, if you're doing live stuff, and we're going to do a cool little side-by-side mastering video showing digital mastering versus analog mastering. I'm very excited to do that, hopefully with this track. And anyway, so I've been loving Lander. They're really cool people. Really cool platform. When you go in, you pay your annual fee, you get access to so much more than just digital distribution, unlimited digital distribution with 0% cut. There's so many other cool tools in there, like mastering, like plugins. Anyway, a huge shout out to them for sponsoring today's episode. Go to otherrecordlabels.com/Lander. Lander is spelled Landr, or the link in the description of this episode. So I can probably upload this track and everything, the artwork and the WAV file by the end of May, 6 weeks. So based on some plans when it comes to creating content and pitching to folks, I want at least 6 to 8 weeks of lead time between uploading it and being done with the production side of things and when it's out. So if you were just listening to this and you're like, okay, what's the ideal amount of lead time? If I were to upload it to my distributor today, meaning I have the artwork, the metadata, the audio files done, I would not set a release date less than 6 weeks. Oh, that's not true. Maybe less than 4 weeks, but ideally 5 to 6 weeks. That's just me. So that would mean a release, going back to my timeline here. I've done recording, mixing, mastering, uploading, everything. That would mean a release in July. And at this moment, I don't feel like I could do a good job releasing it in the summer. It's not necessarily a summer song in any way. So I feel like it would be just more responsible of me to drop it in September. So I'm going to have it uploaded in May, but I'm thinking the release date will be mid to late summer. Mid to late September. Sorry. Makes sense? That's just me personally. I'm skipping over summer. Step number 4, create a work back schedule. Once I have my release date set, so let's say September 19th, I now have to create a work back schedule, which basically just means a list of deadlines starting with the furthest deadline and working back until I get my first deadline, which will be closer to today. So let's say if I want to have it out by September 19th, and based on some of the things I want to do, like create social media content, maybe print something physical, this 5-month lead time allows for all that. So let's say social media content and an ad campaign by September 1st is my furthest deadline. Let's say send it to the press 1 month from release date. So that next deadline will be August 22nd. Then before that, I need to have all of my promo items in one place. So a Dropbox folder that contains maybe a one sheet, a press photo, artwork, a private stream link, lyrics, ISRC, etc. So maybe July 18th, we need to have all that together. Then we have, remember, these are really like tons of cushions here, right? And I don't really need this type of cushion because I'm a one-man operation. I'm the writer, the mixer, the engineer, the label, the designer. So I really don't need all this cushion, but you do because the artists you're working with are maybe a little bit more indecisive, and maybe you have a lot of other key players, a different graphic designer, a photographer, a mix engineer, a mastering engineer. Then we have a deadline to have it uploaded and approved by our digital distributor. As I mentioned, that's probably going to be sometime June or July. We have a lot of margin here. And these months, that's only because I'm pausing for the release over the summer. So this lead time horizon wouldn't be as long for you if you weren't hopping over the summer as I am here. So before we have our digital distribution deadline, we go back even further. We would have a mastering deadline. And before that, I'll have a recording and mixing deadline. We've talked about work back schedules before. You can look up an old episode about that. And we have a template in our Record Label Academy as well. Step 5, develop artwork and branding. The next thing I'm going to need is artwork and branding. Spoiler alert, I'm already working on it. I always do that in tandem with the music because I find them to be both a very fulfilling creative process, and I like when they're done together. So if I'm doing just a single, why would I care about branding? Well, in my case, I want to do a bit of an event around this song. Why? Because if I not only create great artwork for this single, but I also create social media content to match and maybe update my website, my profiles with the same artwork or the same color scheme. That indicates to my audience to take this song seriously, that this is a big effort and deserves your attention. It's not a throwaway B-side, it's an event. You can actually communicate that message via your artwork and the strength of the single's artwork and collateral stuff. And this is 10x true when referring to an album or even an EP. Meaning if there's a big campaign with matching graphics, aesthetics, and messaging, then it's going to hit harder and be more likely to stop the scroll. Speaking of scroll, step 6, build a social media content plan. I have some time to do a bit more than just posting the album cover on social media. So step 6 is creating social media content to promote the release. Remember, I've said all through this that this is all best done as early in the process. Why? I've been recording this song in the studio this past week, and every time I do a take of a certain instrument or one take out of an instrument session, I'll film it with my camera horizontally, and I'll set up my phone vertically and film one take for each instrument. As well as when my session musician is here, we're going to get the mastering engineer to do the same thing. I don't really know what I'm going to make of all this yet, but I have footage now. I have some high quality, intentional studio footage I can use and I will use. So it's on my list to sit down for a morning and make a plan. Sometimes you look at me and go, yeah, social media is important, but what do I post, Scott? I'm not good at this. I'm not in tune with social media. Maybe it's not my giftedness, or I just really don't like it. Nobody was good at it when they got started. But part of your job is to advertise a product. So you have to get good at advertising. If you can't afford to hire an agency, which most of us can't, then you got to get good at it. So don't cop out of it. Don't make excuses. Just sit down and make a plan. Step 7, the plan. Create a promotional plan. What is it? This is not the same thing as a release plan, which includes mastering, submitting to the distro, picking a release date. A promotional plan is simply the checklist of things we're going to do as well as the people we're going to approach regarding the promo side of this release. So for me, I'll probably make a simple checklist in Google Docs that includes emailing a personal pitch to my dozen press contacts that have supported me in the past. I'll pick a few college stations or streaming stations that will take interest. I'll make a list of the blogs I know. I will pitch using Spotify for Artists, obviously. I'll email directly the playlist curators I have in my contact list of whom have great playlists that this song would fit on. I'll also potentially budget a few dollars to pitch to a few other playlists on Groover. This is a marketing checklist that I will be creating specifically for this release. It also might include some domestic efforts like my personal mailing list, social media, maybe my local record store if I do something physical. Remember, I'm doing all this, I'm thinking about this, and this sounds like a lot of work, but this is really the argument for a long time horizon between when the song is done and when it's released. Because all of these things I'm talking about, if you're a one-person operation, it gets a bit stressful, doesn't it? I've just told you like 5 minutes ago to create a big social media plan to film content. And you're like, oh my gosh, that sounds like a lot. I don't want to do that. And now I'm talking to you about making a giant checklist. Even the checklist sounds like a lot of work, let alone actually starting to check things off of that list. I know, but like for me right now, I'm going to be done this song in a couple of weeks, and then I'll have nothing to do for this song or for promoting music from now until September. That's like 5 months away. So what excuse do I have? I mean, really, I could take this list and, half of the stuff will be done or won't be done until release day. The other half, I could give an entire month to working on a promotional plan, an entire month to working on social media. So don't stress about it. Give yourself lots of time. Step 8 is plan one unique thing. Step 8 is plan one unique thing. It's also sort of in the vein of marketing, and that's to pick one special, unique, eye-catching, or out-of-this-world initiative to help promote the record. Or it could be something revenue-related. For example, on a previous single, I did a limited run of 5 lathes on 7-inch clear vinyl, hand-numbered, no artwork. They were $25 each, and they were for sale ahead of time, very exclusive. I may do that again if I can get the cool color of vinyl to match the artwork. I don't know. What is this one unique thing for you? Is it a show? We had a record label on the podcast recently talking about a really cozy, intimate listening party where they, before release date, they made the vinyl available, but they rented out a bookstore room, put some seats in front of a nice sound system, and dropped the needle on the new record, and people sat there quietly and listened to each side. What is this one? That's a unique thing. And maybe that's something you don't replicate for every release. It's something unique for this release. I don't know what it is for you. I just think to make any release campaign exciting, there should be one cool thing that you do to promote it. My best record was a record I did back in 2021. It's my best selling from a physical standpoint. It did okay at streaming, but the design campaign was the most fleshed out that I'd ever done. And one of the big unique things that I did for that release was a pair of white running shoes with the album artwork design on them. And we made 3 pairs. And I sold 2, and I kept 1. They were like $100 or more. And Bandcamp featured them on their Instagram because I was probably one of the few indie artists, maybe at the time, the only indie artist who had released a pair of shoes to promote a record. So do one unique thing. Step 9, update your web presence. Update everything to subtly let the world know that something new is coming. Kanye and Taylor and Radiohead and a few others have deleted all their social media content and removed their profile pictures to black or white, basically symbolically resetting the palette for their fans. The new press photos get updated to all their profile pictures and the album artwork is dropped. It's an event, but it's important to make sure your link in bio is cleaned up. Your website is updated with the new release, Spotify bio. It's just a good chance to do housekeeping on all of your artists' online presence. We're getting ready. Think of it like companies coming over for a New Year's Eve party and you got to clean up, scrub the toilets, scrub behind the toilets. You know what I mean? And finally, step 10, execute the campaign. Or as I like to say, flood all of the channels. from a promotional standpoint, when the single drops, I'm going to flood every single promotional opportunity that I have. An artist pick section on Spotify. Add the links to a smart URL and post it on social. Announce the release, share stories, drop whatever content I've made, maybe sequence it out over a couple of days or every other day. I'm going to send a Bandcamp message through the app. I'm going to drop the release on Bandcamp so all of our followers get notified. If I have a YouTube channel, I'm going to post or do a video announcement or something in studio performance using YouTube. Again, it's using all these channels, TikToks, Threads, Blue Sky, just whatever to wherever there. If you have a follower here, a follower there, listen, if you have like 100 online platforms, seriously, Pinterest, LinkedIn, whatever, you have all of these things and each one only gives you a measly 10 impressions. That's 1,000 impressions. And of course we know it's going to be more than that, right? You probably have like 20 decent platforms and you get thousands on some and 100 here or there. Just do it all. I'm going to send an email to my email list. If you've ever created a profile somewhere for your label or for this artist, then update it and use it to tell people about the new release. That's it. That's it, friends. That's your 10 steps. If you want this in checklist form, click the link in the description. It'll be on our website as well. In our toolkit, I often update our toolkit frequently and put in our new resources in there. So if you haven't downloaded that in a while, head over to otherrecordlabels.com/toolkit to grab that. Good luck on your new release. Send me an email and let me know if this resonates with you. You can always email me, podcast@otherrecordlabels.com. I try to get back in due time, which means within 6 to 12 months. But I really love to hear about your release plan. And I think the thing that excites me, and I think it really motivates too, as I'm mixing the track and doing a really good keyboard take and redoing it and polishing the lyrics. It's nice to have this release plan in the back of my mind, and you could do this for your artists too. Loop them in while they're still in the studio, if that's possible. And it's nice because I know this song's going to have a home. I know this song is going to be given proper treatment. And I think that's just a really cool thing for an artist to have to motivate the creative process, is to know that this song or it's going to be a part of a future album and we have a plan. And I just cannot emphasize how valuable it is to be starting this conversation, to be looking through these 10 steps as early as possible. And I'm really lucky that I am thinking through this now while I'm still recording. That gives me a lot of advanced planning. So there should be a lot fewer regrets. Oh, we should have done this. We should have done that. And I'm skipping over the summer. So my lead time turns out to be close to 4 to 5 months, which is kind of cool as well. Okay, that's it. I hope you found this helpful. Thanks again to Lander for sponsoring today's episode. If you need a digital distributor, support them and support us by checking out otherrecordlabels.com/Lander, LANDR. Have a great day. Have a great week. Thanks for listening.